Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Michelle Allen, and I'm excited to be here with you this afternoon. A little bit about me before we get started. I am a Philly native, born, raised, educated, and continue to work here in the city of Philadelphia, with this year being my 20th year in education. And I'm currently dedicating my time to collaborating with schools and organizations focused on enhancing our approach to not only attracting individuals to the teaching profession, but also providing ongoing support once they join. Today, our aim is to make the journey in becoming a teacher feel more transparent and achievable. We understand that factors like cost, accessibility, and knowing where to begin can be daunting, and our objective is to simplify these challenges in a practical way. So, before we get started, I want to give a little background information on the who behind this webinar. TeachPHL is a citywide effort focused on strengthening pathways into teaching and supporting people at every stage, from exploration to certification to the classroom. TeachPHL is really designed to simplify what can feel like a really confusing process. So, if you've ever tried to figure out how to become a teacher, you've probably seen just how fragmented it is. So many different programs, different requirements depending on the program, and unclear costs. But Teach PHL helps to bring all of that to one place: jobs, certification pathways, training opportunities, all of it. And it's all powered by the Philadelphia Citywide Talent Coalition, which is a group of organizations across the city working together to strengthen the teacher pipeline. At the core, our work is about making the path into teaching not just possible, but clear and actually doable. So it is this mission and purpose that led us to start our webinar series for aspiring educators like you. So why this topic? We're at a moment right now where there's both a real need for teachers and a real opportunity to enter the profession in new ways. At the same time, cost and access are major barriers, and too often people get burned out and just assume that the path is not financially possible for them. What we want to show you today is that there are real options, and with the right information and support, you can become a teacher in Philly. So, we're going to spend this hour together walking you through pathways into teaching, including options that allow you to earn while you learn. We're going to spend some time on funding and how different supports can be stacked together. And then we're going to move into a panel conversation so you can hear directly from some experts that are doing the work right here in Philly. As you're listening, feel free to drop questions into the Q&A at any time. That's the best place for us to track and respond. We have a moderator here today who's going to help and respond to some questions as they come in, and we'll also pull a few of the questions for our Q&A at the end of the panel discussion. You can also use the chat. If you run into any technical issues or needs, our team is here to support you. So if you're open to it, let's practice using the chat. In the chat, please drop what brought you here today. And that will help us to ensure that everyone can get the technical support they need if they need it. And so, speaking of who's here, we asked you all 3 questions when you registered, and here's what you told us. On the left, you'll see where you are in the journey, and more than half of us have either decided or are strongly considering teaching. You came here today ready to take action, but cost is a barrier between you and your next step. And we can see that by looking at the chart in the upper right-hand corner. 37% named cost as a barrier, and right behind cost, about 30% said not sure about where to start. And both of these concerns are what we are hoping to tackle tonight, and you are not alone. Lastly, we see that 39% are still working towards their bachelor's degree, and that is perfectly okay. Wherever you're starting from, what you're naming is real and solvable. And this session was designed with you in mind to help get you where you want to be. So, to kick things off, we want to tackle three myths we hear constantly from people considering teaching. The first one is, I need a 4 year education degree to teach. And that's false. You do not need to have studied education as an undergraduate to become a teacher in Pennsylvania. If you already have a bachelor's degree, there are approved pathways in the certification, and some are designed for career changers using the experience based certificate. Myth two, I can't afford to stop working to get certified. And that is real. Some Pennsylvania pathways are designed so that candidates can keep earning while they train. For example, some Philadelphians, some candidates in residency programs can earn a salary and benefits while training with a mentor teacher and completing their coursework before taking on a lead teacher role. Real talk, you don't have to quit your life to become a teacher. Myth three, there's no financial help for this. That's also false. Some candidates may qualify for federal funding, such as teach grants, some local and state scholarships, and there are some praxis fee waivers that exist as well. The key here is knowing what exists and then checking your eligibility. Everyone in this room, regardless of where we're joining from, we're all starting from the same place, high school. What happens after that is where the paths split. So the first one is the traditional route. This is where most people picture themselves becoming teachers. You get your bachelor's degree, you study education, and you do student teaching, and then you begin teaching. This path takes longer and it costs a lot. It's not a wrong path, it's an option, but just know it takes longer and costs more. But here in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, there's an alternative route. And we like to call that the alternative earn and learn. And this route has two entry points. If you already have a bachelor's degree in any field, you can enter a paid residency and get certified while you earn a salary. If you don't have a bachelor's degree yet, you're not left out. That's the pre-baccalaureate path. You work towards your degree while gaining real classroom experience. Headline, regardless of path, it all leads to the same destination, a certified teaching credential. You don't get a separate one that says you did this route or you did something different. All paths lead to you becoming a fully certified teacher in the state of Pennsylvania. So I'm going to put these two pathways side by side because this is the heart of our myth busting that we talked about. So on the left, the traditional route is what most people picture when they think of becoming a teacher. The thing about this one here is that you actually engage in a full semester of student teaching that is typically unpaid. And tuition can range from about 40,000 to over 120,000. And then you still need to take the practice exams. And the timeline here is about 2 to 4 plus years. On the right, the alternative earn and learn, um, we see that your tuition is often dramatically reduced and sometimes fully covered, depending on the employer. You earn a salary and benefits from day one, like I mentioned before, where you get real on the job experience without the responsibilities of a lead teacher. You get to work side by side with a mentor teacher while you learn. Then you have coursework to complete that can happen on evenings or weekends, depending on the program that you're in. And you still take the same practice exams. The huge difference here is the cost and the timeline. Some programs, you can earn your certification in just 1 year. All right, so now we get to the fun stuff. We talk about money. Even if you choose the most affordable pathway, there are still costs. You have tests, you have coursework, you have background clearances, and probably tuition. So let's talk about how people pay for those and what's available. When we think of funding, we think about it as falling into four buckets. Bucket one is your federal grants, things like Teach grants, the Pell grants, and the loan forgiveness program. Bucket two, state and city. These are more Pennsylvania and Philly specific grants and scholarships. We'll talk a little bit later about the student teacher stipend and some reduced certification fees. And in bucket three, employer. Many employers in Philadelphia offer tuition support. We have salary during residencies, and in bucket four, test fee supports. This one is often forgotten about, but the praxis can add up. It can get pretty expensive. And so we'll talk about free prep materials as well as some reduced background check costs. The secret here, folks, is that these stack. You don't have to choose just one. Depending on where you're starting and where you want to go, you can draw from all four buckets and you can do it simultaneously. So let's break down the buckets even further so you can see the opportunities that exist. Federal funding opportunities for aspiring teachers. So these opportunities are available across the country, and each of these have specific eligibility criteria that you should be aware of. The first one, the Teach Grant and the Pell Grant, that's free money you do not have to pay back. If you are an undergraduate student, you likely qualify for the Pell Grant. And if you are going into like a high need subject area like STEM or special education, the Teach Grant is built just for you. And for anyone in this room that's carrying some existing student loan debt, pay attention to the public service loan forgiveness. Teaching in most Philadelphia public schools qualifies as public service. And after 10 years of qualifying payments, your remaining balance is forgiven. No cap on the amount. Not easy to get, but it does exist. Key takeaway here is that the FAFSA is your gateway to most of these funding opportunities. If you haven't filed one yet, do so immediately following this webinar. It's free and it opens up multiple funding opportunities at once for you. Pennsylvania, now drilling down to the state level, Pennsylvania has made three significant moves recently that directly benefit everyone in this room, and most people have no idea they happened. The first one is the basic skills test. You may or may not have heard about it, but it's gone. As of July of 2025, it is no longer required to enter a teacher prep program. One less barrier for us and one less fee to pay. Second, certification application fees are now capped at $50 statewide. If you are a veteran or a veteran spouse, you actually pay nothing. Believe it or not, it costs significantly more to apply to be a certified teacher in Pennsylvania. And third, the state invested 7.76 million in teacher apprenticeships, including grants. The School District of Philadelphia is one of the beneficiaries, and we have one of our panelists here tonight to talk about how her school is using the grant to support teachers. I do want to shout Pennsylvania out just a little bit in Philly because there's three specific programs that, again, most aspiring teachers don't know about, and they can be really helpful. The first one is the Cato Scholarship. The Cato Scholarship Program, it was founded after Octavius Cato, a Philadelphia civil rights leader and educator, and it's administered through a partnership with the Community College of Philadelphia. This can be used in any degree area, but for aspiring teachers, you can use it towards earning your associate's degree. It can cover tuition and fees for qualifying students. The next one is the Grow PA Scholarship. This one is a Pennsylvania state scholarship for students enrolled in an approved educator preparation program. It can be worth up to $5,000 per year and is renewable for up to 4 years for qualifying in-state students. You can earn $20,000 towards your teaching credential. But here's the critical thing to know about that. It is on a first come, first served basis. The state funds it annually, and when the money is gone, it is gone. That means applying in September is very different from applying in February. If you are in or about to enter a teacher prep program, this needs to be one of your first calls. This is not something you want to put on your to-do list for later. Last but not least, the student teacher stipend. This is one of the most important developments in Pennsylvania because, like I mentioned before, and at least when I was studying to become a teacher, I spent an entire semester teaching for free, unpaid. And we know that that can be a burden for many people, for many aspiring educators. And so, just recently, Governor Shapiro proposed 40 million for the 25-26 school year to give stipends directly to student teachers so that period doesn't have to break your budget. You don't have to give up or stop living to become a teacher. Here's the catch. Just like the Grow PA scholarship, this too is on a first come, first served basis. So again, apply through your program and do it early. The last bucket here covers test fees and certification costs. This is a small but annoying expense that can definitely add up. In addition to waivers for the praxis, we have access on our website to some free praxis prep resources, and you can also find information on waivers for background checks. Praxis.ets.org is a great space, is a great place to check out the fee waivers. So I just shared a lot of information, but now I want to make this even more concrete. You're going to hear directly from people who run these programs and supports so you can understand exactly how these pathways work and what it looks like to access funding. So I'm excited to introduce our panelists. First, we have Abby Gunn. Let me just, okay, I don't know. Okay, Abby serves as the Director of Teacher and Instructional Leadership Development for Esperanza Academy Charter School in the Hunting Park section of Philadelphia. She has been an educator in Philly schools, both charter and district, for nearly 20 years. She has served as a paraeducator, a teacher, and a leader at the building, regional, and district levels. Abby understands the critical role well prepared and supported educators play in ensuring that all students also feel well prepared and supported, and devotes her time at Esperanza to exploring innovative ways to make that happen. Abby is bringing a school based approach to early career teacher professional development and supports and funding at Esperanza Charter School. Thank you for being here, Abby. Next, we have Mandisa. Mandisa John is the Director of Partnerships at City Teaching Alliance. She is a strategic, people centered leader with over 15 years of experience building programs, strengthening partnerships, and creating systems and solutions across education and nonprofit sectors that expand opportunity and long term success for young people. She serves as the founding director of partnerships for City Teaching Alliance Philadelphia, where she leads a multi year teacher residency and preparation pathway across 30 plus schools and strengthens educator development and retention. Her passion spans K through 12, education, post secondary, life development, and athletics with a focus on equity, identity, and long term readiness, striving to be who she needed growing up. Mandisa holds a bachelor's degree in sociology and a master's degree in education, culture, and society from the University of Penn. We'll learn more from Mandisa about the residency model and how it prepares teachers and instills confidence. Last but not least, we have Sarah Hollister. Welcome, Sarah. Sarah is the Senior Director of Higher Education and Career Readiness at the Mayor's Office of Education in the City of Philadelphia. In this role, she develops policies and programs that support college access, affordability, and success. She works collaboratively with other city departments, including the School District of Philadelphia, charter schools, and Philadelphia Works, to align initiatives to support the mayor's career readiness strategies. Sarah has over 15 years of experience building systems and programming that support children and families in the field of education, workforce, and child welfare. She holds master's degrees in law and social policy and social service from the Bryn Mawr Graduate School of Social Work and Social Research and was a Pennsylvania Education Policy Fellow in 2009. Sarah is passionate about aligning systems to support students and their families, social justice, and ensuring that on the ground practitioners inform government policies. She's going to be our resource to learn all about the Cato Scholarship and the partnership with Community College of Philadelphia. All right, so I am going to kick us off with some questions. And once our discussion is finished, we'll open the floor up. We're going to take a few questions from our Q&A. So I'm just going to spotlight our folks real quick. One more to go. All right. So let's start by helping everyone understand what these pathways actually look like. From your perspective, what does your pathway actually look like for someone entering it? And where does funding show up along the way? Sarah, let's start with you.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm excited to be here and talk a little bit about the Cato Scholarship. The Cato Scholarship is a free initiative, free college initiative at the Community College of Philadelphia. It's funded by the city of Philadelphia. And one of the best things about the Cato Scholarship is all you have to do is to apply for CCP. So I'll reiterate the importance of doing the FAFSA. This is a last dollar scholarship, which means that you apply to CCP, you go through the application, and then whatever the federal government Pell doesn't cover will be covered by the Cato Scholarship if you are admitted to the scholarship. There is no separate application for the Cato Scholarship. There is a interview process to make sure that it fits, and there's some eligibility criteria that I'll talk about later. But one of the other great things about the Cato Scholarship is that it covers tuition. It is free tuition towards getting your bachelor's degree, but it also includes all of your books, and there is a stipend that you receive. You receive $1,100 per semester. You are assigned a coach and a navigator to support you along the way, and do whatever we can to make sure that you not only start, but that you finish and that you're successful.
Thanks, Sarah. Abby.
Hey everyone, nice to see you. Happy to share a little bit around what we at Esperanza, in particular, do to support some of our full-time staff members in furthering their education careers. There's kind of two standout pathways to certification that we support our employees with at Esperanza. One of them is our tuition reimbursement model for our current employees, and the other is our brand new apprenticeship program that Michelle referenced earlier. It is through the CTRA grant. We're really, really excited to kick that off. That particular apprenticeship opportunity is focused on our current paraprofessionals and or teaching assistants. And it serves as a pathway for those folks to move from paraprofessionals to lead teachers with full certification and a bachelor's degree. It's a really, really awesome program. We're really excited to get that started. It's pretty great. It covers all tuition, fees, and costs that anyone engaging in a typical preparation program would incur. The grant that we have is allowing us to keep that funded, which is awesome. It's also considered one of those earn as you learn models. So our folks that are currently supporting in classrooms stay in those classrooms. They continue to do their daily job, but the bonus of being an apprentice is that you're now embedding some of the additional responsibilities of the teacher preparation program into your day-to-day responsibilities so that you get to maintain your employment, all of your benefits, There's also some built-in wage increases along the way that comes along with being an apprentice, as well as a fully paid experience in your prep program. Also comes with mentor teacher, tons and tons of support from the staff at Esperanza, both in navigating your coursework and in navigating the shift in responsibilities. And you leave the program with a degree, a bachelor's degree, certification. We specialize here in our pre-K to 12 special education certification in particular, which is a super marketable certification to get. Once you have a special ed cert, you can pretty much add on any additional certs from there. And the world is your oyster when it comes to teaching.
Oh,
And then finally, within that apprenticeship, you're also guaranteed a teaching position at Esperanza for 2 years once you complete that. So that's pretty sweet. Our tuition reimbursement model, many schools out there offer reimbursement models. Our model is unique in that we offer up to $8,000 per year for our employees. So that is a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of.
thanks so much, Abby. And now we're going to kick it over to Mandisa to tell us all about residencies at City Teaching Alliance.
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. So City Teaching Alliance is actually a national organization, but I represent the Philadelphia site. We are the newest of our four cities. This is our fourth year in Philadelphia. We are about to onboard our fifth cohort. And our pathway is a 3-year plus a alumni year residency model that starts with you learning side by side with an experienced teacher in their classroom and then grows you into a teacher of record with a master's degree. In year one, you're in a classroom every day with a mentor teacher. You're taking graduate courses designed around what you're seeing and experiencing with students. And then in year two, you become that teacher of record with ongoing coaching, coursework, professional development, and also support from our site and national teams. So you're not figuring this out all on your own. Our coursework is complete after the second year, and that's the master's degree. But then you also become certified. We have the 3 tracks: elementary, secondary, ELA, or math. And for our schools and districts that are partnering with us, it means that fellows are prepared for high needs classrooms. They have built-in coaching and mentoring, and they're part of a community of career educators. We're bringing also a diverse candidate pipeline, and we act as a thought partner to tailor solutions to specific school context. I would say on the money side, in year one, you are employed by the placement school, which is different from some of our other programs where you may receive a stipend. You are an employee, so you receive a full salary, benefits, and we also help you layer in those grants and scholarships and tuition reimbursements that I mentioned earlier. So the graduate tuition is far more affordable than just going to grad school without working. And it's especially powerful for career changers, recent grads, folks who want that deep training but can't afford to just stop working and go back to school full time.
Mm. Mandisa, let's get a little bit more specific around cost and funding. What does someone earn during a residency, and maybe what costs could they expect, if any?
Yep. So as I mentioned, as employees of the schools, you do receive a salary. It's usually between 40 and 50,000, depending on which school partner you're with, and you also get the full benefits. You start the retirement package right away as well. I know that's something that's huge in the district as well. And then in year two, that increases to a full teacher salary. That could be up to 60,000, depending on the school. So that definitely gets you there within that first and second year. And then again, there's an increase when you complete the master's degree. It's just about reporting that to the school district. There are the real costs, right? So the graduate tuition, testing and certification fees, as were mentioned, and then basic living expenses. But we definitely also help access the federal aid, the grants, scholarships. We also have, for folks that are maybe experiencing emergencies, we have emergency grants that can cover for anything that folks may face. But it's definitely lower out-of-pocket cost overall than a traditional master's program, and help you earn as you are learning.
That's incredible, Mandisa. So earn and learn is real. Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about who qualifies for the Cato Scholarship and what does it actually cover in a little more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So to be eligible for the Cato Scholarship, you have to be a Philadelphia resident. And you have to complete your FAFSA, or I will note that there are accommodations for undocumented students if they are planning, right? If they want to apply to CCP, we have an alternative way to show your financial need. You do have to have an SAI or student aid index of 8,000 or less. You have to enter college ready or one level below college ready. And you have to have had your high school diploma. And there are various degree, if you've attended some college before, there are some credit requirements. So if you've attended a college and you have too many credits, then there may be a chance that you're not eligible. But the best thing I like to say with that is just to apply and just to reach out to the Cato scholarship team in general so that they can help you navigate that all the way through. You do have to attend full time as a Cato scholarship recipient. So that is something that the goal is to get you through as fast as possible. So we ask students to attend full time. And again, some of the benefits is free tuition, books paid, you receive a stipend, you receive career workshops, and a whole host of staff support. So staff at CCP are assigned to help you get through all of your classes.
So there is a funded on-ramp, even if you don't have your bachelor's yet. I'm sure that's really important for our friends on the line today, who's working towards that. Abby, can you bring us back into the world of Esperanza?
Yeah, sure. I think that there are often some misconceptions related to like affordability when it comes to teacher pathway programming, even here at Esperanza. Um, I think that a lot of times when people think about the word affordability, they think about money instantly, right? But there's also other things paired with just the money that comes along with engaging in a teacher prep program and getting certified. And a lot of that comes along with like the demands of the prep program. A lot of times, our non teaching professionals or folks that aren't currently working in schools, they get really, really nervous about the idea of engaging in the practical experience that typically comes along with teaching preparation programs. I'm talking about like student teaching. Student teaching is typically a full time experience that occurs for like at least 12 weeks in a school. It's pretty intensive and comprehensive in nature. And a lot of times people just cannot think about how they would possibly figure that out when they're not currently working in a school. It would mean them taking leave, it would mean them not getting paid, et cetera, et cetera. At Esperanza in particular, that's why we're really, really excited about our apprenticeship pathway, because that really is designed for our paraprofessionals who are currently working again, so that they don't have to kind of make a lot of huge shifts. That allows for that greater flexibility. It ensures that they don't have to incur any loss of pay to gain that practical experience. In fact, every single day for them is practical experience, and it's a new opportunity to apply their classroom learning in real time. So it really creates an excellent training ground to turn that job that they have in the school into a full teaching career. And I think that creative pathways like this are designed to remove those exact barriers that people think about when they think about not being able to get involved in a teaching pathway. And the benefits to both the participants in that pathway and to the schools that they're serving are huge, because it's wonderful to have the folks that are currently working with you stay on board to become certified teachers, because they're a part of the fabric of your community. And then you just kind of get to grow and build that continuity together. So I encourage folks to look for apprenticeship programs in the schools that they are interested in.
Thanks, Abby. And so, what I keep hearing across all three of these is that support is there, not just only in the beginning, but throughout. And so, I want to talk a little bit more about some common myths. We talked about doing some myth busting at the top of this webinar, and I'm curious about what you're actually seeing in your work. What's a mistake or misconception you see people make when trying to figure out how to pay for something like this? Mandisa, can you kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think one mistake I see a lot of people doing is just counting themselves out before they even have talked to anyone. So you're assuming like I don't have savings, I already have some debt from undergrad, I probably can't afford this. But in reality, with all the pieces that we've talked about, we really can stack them together and make it affordable for your own context. But I think also you have to be willing to analyze the real full picture, right? Like as Abby mentioned, it's not just the financial pieces, it's your time, it's like what you're able to sacrifice versus not. So really looking at the full picture, and then also for our team for our organization, we have a teacher finance team. So being willing also to share that information with the finance team, the full picture, so that someone is able to walk you through all the steps. And then also with the graduate degree, with the graduate school, you can talk to the financial aid office. There are so many different ways to have a full support team that helps you figure out what the full picture looks like, without counting yourself out to start.
Hmm, that's a really important one. Sarah, what have you seen or heard?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cato Scholarship is a great opportunity to get at least 2 years under your belt for free. And we are actively working to expand that so that there are free transfer pathways for CCP Cato scholars who are graduating. So I think often some folks think they count out CCP. And I think it's a great pathway. They have a really strong early childhood education pathway, but they also have middle, well, what was middle, and secondary pathways with, phenomenal teachers, a great cohort of students that work together on that path. I also think that some students think that if they don't start in education right away, that's not a pathway anymore. We are seeing a lot of students who started in the Cato Scholarship and now they're close to finishing and they're not in the education pathway, but they're really interested in education, and we're helping them transfer to their next step, reduce that cost for them, and help them along the way to be teachers. There are tons of programs out there that give you a taste of what teaching is so that you can try it out as well as helping you pay your tuition. So I kind of second what Mindy's is saying, that there's just ask, right? People want to help. Teach PHL is a tremendous resource and opportunity. Use the chat function, reach out. There is a whole group of folks in Philadelphia. The mayor is incredibly committed to recruiting and retaining high quality teachers. She was a teacher herself and is fiercely dedicated to this. And we are working to figure out how we can make this the best teaching experience in the country.
Mm. So I think what I'm hearing is that people are making decisions based on either misinformation or incomplete information, and there's no judgment. Just ask, right? We don't want to leave any money on the table. Abby, are there any other misconceptions or myths you want to add before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, two things actually come up for me here. I think number one, when folks are looking for teacher preparation programs, I think a lot of times people get hung up on like what I call kind of the name brand schools. And a lot of times name brand schools come with a price tag. So I
Mhm.
encourage people to really look for what is out there. There are a lot of really high quality teacher preparation programs that don't carry a hefty price tag. There are a lot of teacher preparation programs that are built to meet unique schedules. With the boom in online and virtual education, anything is possible. So think creatively and look for the programs that best fit your needs, both, when it comes to cost and when it comes to what your life looks like and what you kind of need to build your experience around. I also think that there are a lot of teacher prep programs out there that are designed to support working professionals with evening classes. They've got summer focused practical experiences. And that will make more space for folks to kind of balance that work piece and that preparation program part more successfully. My biggest advice, my own personal piece of advice, is start out as a school employee if you can. Doesn't matter if you're a teacher, doesn't matter if you're a paraprofessional, get into a school. It is the best possible place to begin your career. I myself was a career changer. I took a classroom assistant role when I knew I wanted to go back to school. While I was getting my master's degree, I worked in that position. I got to carry out a lot of my practical experience without any of these pathways that we're talking about here. I just kind of did it. And it really did honestly like best prepare me for the work that lies ahead as a certified educator. I just don't think there's a better way to prepare teachers for the work, in my own humble opinion. So that would be my piece of additional advice.
That is a great reminder. One, the name of your school, where you go. does not show up on your certification credential. It really doesn't mean anything. And so don't go for the fancy price tags if you don't have to. Again, it all leads to the same destination, which is a certification to allow you to teach in the state of Pennsylvania. Um, and then also, I want to bring us to our next question, and I'll make it the last one. But before I do, this is a good opportunity to drop any questions you may have into the FAQ. Scott's going to help us and pull out a few questions that we'll pitch to the panelists to answer if they're not already being answered. So let's jump into the next question. What should someone consider when deciding between a residency, a school-based pathway, and an associate's or scholarship-based route? Let's start with Sarah. Maybe you can provide us with some entry point clarity.
So you want to enter where you're starting from, right? So again, I think if you have a high school diploma, but you're needing an associate's degree, CCP is an excellent place to begin. But then there are also other options available if you've already gotten your associate's degree, right? Like making sure you transfer those credits, making sure you know, have all those ducks in a row. Those are great options as well. I'll just also, what Abby said is true, right? Like getting into a school and like getting that
Mhm.
hands-on experience is tremendous, and that will help you out no matter what. So yeah, I think it's based on kind of your own educational journey that you've taken so far, which is why we have so many different pathways and why we need folks to ask questions and make sure what's best for them.
Agreed, right? Getting into schools is the best place to start. And it's also helpful to think about what do you actually want to teach? Right? Are you really passionate about literacy? Are you passionate about the sciences? Is it math? Because once you know that, that's also going to determine the path and the program you'll enroll into. And so I want to bring us to our last question, and I want to make sure that everyone leaves with something concrete. If someone is interested in your pathway, what is one specific step they can take this week to get started? Abby, kick us off, please.
Oh, good. It's time for my shameless plug. My biggest piece of advice, come work with us. Come work with us. Schools are always looking for good people to come on board. There's so many positions and jobs in schools just beyond teaching. We are always looking for talented people. At Esperanza in particular, we have an excellent working culture beyond those two benefits that I mentioned that can support your pathways towards certification. We also have a lot of internal systems in place to support our teachers and help them grow, as well as our staff members. We have early release time every single Wednesday that is devoted to professional development and professional learning communities so that our staff can like collaborate, get together, get better at what they do. We also have new teacher induction programs in place to make sure that once you've got that teacher certification, you feel supported in your first 2 years as a brand new teacher. Those are difficult years. We want to make sure that you've got what you need. Our teacher teams are really tight here. There's an awesome culture. They take pride in their work and their students. I'm sure any school out there would tell you the same. Any school out there would welcome you to join us. So check it out. Follow schools on Instagram. Take a look at LinkedIn. It's hiring season. Get out there and look for who's hiring. Get into a school. We are excited to have you guys. Welcome to the profession if you're not there already.
Now is the time, right? We are at the height of hiring season for teachers. Mandisa, what's your one key takeaway for folks to get started?
Similar with a plug, but I would say the most concrete step, go to cityteachingalliance.org, fill out our interest form. Someone from our recruitment team will reach out. They can answer questions. You can have a one-on-one, talk about your background, what you might want to teach, like Michelle shared, like all the different options, and also how finances could work in your specific situation. And if you're ready to move forward, our final application deadline for this next school year that's coming up is in about 2 weeks on April 22nd. So that link is also through the website. So now would be the right time to raise your hand, throw your name in the hat, and let us help you figure out if this is the right fit for you.
Thanks, Mandisa. And Sarah, can you close us out?
Yeah. Apply to CCP, right? If that's the path that you're thinking of, start the application. It takes a bit of moment to get that application going, to make sure your transcripts are in, everything. When we first started the Cato Scholarship, people would hang up the phone when we recruited because they thought it was a scam, right? Free tuition, a stipend, help to get through, free books, right? Now it is there's a waiting list, right? So don't wait until the last minute to apply. Apply now. It's just your regular CCP application, and then reach out to the Cato Scholarship team and tell them you're interested. Don't wait until, the day before classes start. There won't be any scholarships left.
Thank you so much to our panel. This has all been really, really helpful. I don't think we're going to open up the Q&A because Scott's been working hard behind the scenes answering the questions as they've been rolling in. So huge thank you to Scott and thank you to all of you that's been engaging and asking questions. So we are going to transition into some resources and what you can expect following this session. So tonight we learned there are two routes to the same PA instructional certificate. One costs between 40,000 and 120,000, and one can cost you significantly less, between about 10 to 15,000. We highlighted 3 local and state programs, the Cato Scholarship, Grow PA, and the Student Teacher Stipend. They're all available right now for you to access. And remember, Student Teacher Stipend and Grow PA Scholarship are on a first come, first served basis, and they do run out. Third, we just learned a lot about Earn and Learn residencies in Philadelphia, where you can earn a salary and benefits and learn and study a master teacher before you go into the role full time on your own as the lead. All of the resources behind everything we learned tonight are on the next slide. So you could feel free to screenshot it, you could bookmark it, or you could wait for our follow-up email that you'll get following our time together. So another starting point for you is the TeachPHL website. On our website, we have a really incredible, useful tool called the Pathway Tool, and it walks you through your options based on where you're starting from. The Earn and Learn page on our website also lists every residency program, and we also have a scholarship page. You can also, we are highly encouraging that you fill out your FAFSA. Remember, in order to access the federal funding, you have to have a FAFSA completed in order to be considered. And programs here, the School District of Philadelphia's employee development page has details on both their pathway, teacher residency, and as well as the para pathway. Our university partners are also listed there. And you remember, all of these links will be shared with you following our session. But before we end, we have a bonus resource to share with you. It is time to make it personal, because the most important thing you can do following this webinar is take action. We are sharing a bonus resource planning template in the chat, and it has 4 steps that we are going to walk you through. Step 1, you can check the box that describes where you are right now. Do you have a bachelor's degree? Are you already working in the school? Are you thinking about changing careers? Still need to finish your degree? Your answer here determines your pathway options. Your next step is to then choose your pathway based on your starting point. Which route makes the most sense? A teacher residency, a traditional program, or maybe working as a para while you finish your degree. Step 3, claim the money. Go through each bucket and check the funding source you think you might be eligible for. And don't limit yourself. Remember, You can you can stack all four sources. And just because you don't think you're eligible, you never know. You could be. So try. The goal here for you is to see how many sources can you stack to reduce the cost overall. And then step 4 is to identify your most immediate next steps this week, this month, this quarter. And so we hope that this is a helpful resource to put the information that you gained today to work. And we will close with this. You can afford this. The myth that becoming a teacher requires going deep into debt is just that, a myth. Philadelphia has more pathways, more support, and more funding sources than most people realize. And so, here are your 3 action items. Today, before you close your browser after you complete our survey, please go to the teachphl.org website and try the Pathways tool. Put in where you're starting and see what pops up. This week, you still have a few days left. File your FAFSA. It's free, takes about 30 minutes, and is the gateway to most of the federal funding we talked about. And this month, attend an info session for one of the programs we talked about or one that you found, and fill out an interest form. Remember, there are folks there to answer your questions. And before you go, we want to thank you for spending this hour with us. We want to continue bringing content to you that's meaningful and useful. And so there's a QR code on the screen here. And if you're using a smartphone, we're also dropping a link in the chat for you to access. We would love your feedback. We want to know what was helpful and what's still needed as we continue to find ways to support aspiring educators here in Philadelphia. I also want to add my own plug in that our next webinar is coming up on Wednesday, April 22nd, and it's going to be focused on going from emergency permit to fully certified. Please spread the word. And then last but not least, please keep an eye out on your email. We will send all resources from today, including a one-pager with all the hyperlinks to the sites that we talked about, this slide deck, as well as the funding planner. And please share this information with anyone you know who's thinking about teaching. We are so grateful you're here, and we wish you much success in your journey in becoming a teacher here in Philadelphia. Thank you.